What's up, y'all?
Hi, boys and girls. It's me, Mrs. Adementa. I am here at my house, and I am making some stories for us. And this is a new segment that we're going to call Social Distance Story Time. Yeah. So enjoy. Hello, boys and girls. It's Miss Adementa, and here we are for another Social Distance Story Time. Today's story is called Those Shoes. Before we begin, let's go over some vocabulary. Alright, even though we are not in school, we still need to make sure that we are learning new words. So we have some new words that we will be looking for in the story. You will see them pop up when I read them. And there will also be a picture there to remind you of what that word means. So again, here we go with our vocabulary. Our first word is velcro. Velcro is a fastener for clothes or other things. It's usually two strips of like a thin plastic sheet. One has little bitty loops and one has little bitty hooks, and they stick together when you press them. You've seen them probably on shoes, sometimes on activities that your teachers do in school. Our next word is thrift. Thrift is a noun. It's the quality of using money and other resources carefully and not wastefully. In our story, our main character goes to the thrift shop. A thrift shop is a store that sells secondhand clothes and other household goods, usually used to raise money for something else, but they're there so that we can reuse things that others don't want. Therefore, we're not making trash, we're reusing things. So you can see that in the picture where someone's shopping in a thrift store. Sort of like a Goodwill or other thrift stores that you may see in your neighborhood. Our next word is a multiple meaning word. The first meaning would be to rearrange a deck of cards by sliding them over each other. That's a type of shuffle. But in our story, we're using the word shuffle with the definition meaning to walk by dragging your feet along, like you don't really lift them up off the ground fully. Sort of like when we do line dances and we shuffle to the left, shuffle to the right. That type of shuffle. Our next word is spies. This is actually the plural of the word spy. S-P-Y, spy. But this is not the secret agent. This is actually what the secret agent might be doing. So to observe or to look at someone very closely means to spy. And our last word is nudge. To nudge someone means to prod them, give them a light touch or a push very gently, just to get their attention to do something. Like you might nudge someone who's slowing down in the line that, hey, you need to go ahead and move. That's a nudge. If you look in the picture, you can see the mama hippo nudging her baby to go up and get a breath of air. So a nice little soft push for someone to pay attention. All right, so there are our words. Again, they will pop up on the screen as I read. So hopefully you will remember what they mean. Try and use one today as you talk to someone. Let me know how that goes. All right, here we go. Those Shoes. Those Shoes by Mary Beth Bolts. Illustrated by Noah Z. Jones. I have dreams about those shoes. Black high tops, 2 white stripes. Grandma, I want them. There's no room for one around here, just need, Grandma says. And what you need are new boots for winter. Brandon T comes to school in those shoes. He says he's the fastest runner now, not me. I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio and I count how many times Nate goes to the bathroom. 7 times in one day, just so he can walk up and down the hall real slow. Next, Alan, Jacoby, and Terrence each get a pair. Then one day, in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes comes apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Jeremy, Mr. Alfrey, the guidance counselor, says. He brings out a box of shoes and other stuff he has for kids who need things. He helps me find the only shoes that are my size. Velcro, like the ones my little cousin Marshall wears. They have an animal on them from a cartoon I don't think any kid ever watched. When I come back to the classroom, Alan Jacoby takes one look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes and laughs, and so do Terrence, Brandon T., and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says, "How kind of Mr. Alfrey." I nod and turn my back. I'm not going to cry about any dumb shoes. But when I'm writing my spelling words later, every word looks like the word shoes, and my grip is so tight on my pencil, I think it might burst. On Saturday, Grandma says, "Let's check out these shoes you've been wanting so much. I got a little money set aside. Might be enough, you never know." At the shoe store, Grandma turns those shoes over so she can check the price. When she sees it, she sits down heavy. "Maybe they wrote it down wrong," I say. Grandma shakes her head. Then I remember the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew his or got 2 pairs for Christmas and had to give one of them away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoes except the ones I want. We ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes in sight. Around the corner is the third thrift shop. I see something in the window. Black shoes with 2 white stripes, high tops, perfect shape, $2.50. Those shoes! My heart is pounding hard as I take off my shoes and hitch up my baggy socks. "Oh, how exciting!" Grandma says. "What size are they?" I shove my foot into the first one, curling my toes to get my heel in. "I don't know, but I think they fit." Grandma kneels on the floor and feels for my toes at the end of my shoe. "Oh, Jeremy," she says, "I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit." I pull the other shoe on and try to walk around. "They're okay," I say, holding my breath and praying that my toes will fall right off then and there, but my toes don't fall off. I buy them anyway with my own money, and I squeeze them on and limp to the bus stop. At home a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my 2 big feet shuffling around in my 2 small shoes. "Sometimes shoes stretch," I say. Grandma gives me a hug. I check every day, but those shoes don't stretch. I have to wear my Mr. Alfrey's to school instead. One day during math, I glance at Antonio's shoes. One of them is taped up, and his feet look smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think. Antonio was there, the only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfrey shoes. We shoot baskets. A loose piece of tape on Antonio's shoe smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think I'm not gonna do it. We leap off the swings. I'm not gonna do it. We race from one end of the playground to the other. I'm not gonna do it, I say. Do what? Antonio says, breathing hard. Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too. After supper, he spies my shoes. How come you don't wear them? Antonio asks. I shrug. My hands are sweaty. I can feel him wishing those shoes were his. That night, I'm awake for a long time thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes one last time. Before I can change my mind, the shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall as I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes in front of his door, push the doorbell, and run. At school, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face and mad when I look at my Mr. Alfred shoes. But later, when it's time for recess, something happens. Everywhere there is snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. Leave your shoes in the hall? It's then I remember what I have in my backpack. New boots. New black boots that no kid has ever worn before. Standing in line to go to recess, Antonio leans forward and says, "Thanks." I smile and give him a nudge. "Let's race!" I hope you enjoyed the story, Those Shoes. But of course, we have some questions. What I would like for you to do is to pause the video after the question is read and have a discussion about each question. Question 1. What makes Jeremy want those shoes so bad? Have you ever wanted something so badly? What was it? In the story, Grandma says, "There's no room for one around here, just need." Why do you think she said that? What do you think she meant by that? What are some things that you want? What are some things that you need? Antonio saw Jeremy's shoes, and Jeremy knew that Antonio wanted them. Why didn't he give them to him just then? And why did he give them to him in secret by putting them on the doorstep and running away? And the last question. What have you done to help others? What have others done to help you? How did you benefit from this? If you want to check out this book when you get back to school, look in the Easy section. The call number is EASY, BOE. See you next time.